finally have, I think I've come close to mastering my relationship with sugar. And just last week during my film shoot over at Resort World, I put some behind the scenes footage on my channel. You can check that out. But I came to the realization how addicted I was, even as dialed in as I am with my diet and fitness and the wellness life. I still couldn't for the life of me let go of the Quest protein bars. And if you know Quest protein bars, they're relatively very popular. And despite I'm staring right in the sun today, folks, so I may look like crap. There's a lot of squinting going on, and it's windy. Of course, Vegas, right? Things are kicking up a notch. But it's very tempting. It's like one giant candy bar. And for many years, I've had an on and off relationship with Quest, and my justification is that I'm not really eating any sugar per se from candy bars or soda, except now when I'm having alcohol socially, right? Which even these days is far few in between. And then I started reading up on about Quest bars and stuff. And while it has about 20 grams of protein, you have two of those, you have about 40 grams in you of protein, which is great. But then you start looking at the labeling, right? The deceptiveness of what it actually contains, and you'll be surprised that it actually has a lot more sugar processed, like sucralose, other like stevia and whatnot. Like those are not bad. I mean, it's not entirely bad, because by all means you can always grab a Quest bar if you are, in dire need of a snack. What better snack to grab than a protein bar, right? But as I continue reading, and for doing my own research after years, nearly a decade of just consuming this intermittently and unknowingly realizing how addictive these are, and is designed to make you continue eating more and more and more. So where am I going with all of this is that it's got the same additives in there that spark my thirst, my desire for more sugar, if that makes sense. While it's technically supposed to be healthy for you, it's technically not that good for you. And so what I've noticed in the last few days is I have eliminated that completely from my diet. And I went to the grocery store. It was a hard miss for me. Like I picked it up from the grocery aisle, and then I put it back down. I went back to it in the other aisle, and I put it back down because there was this dopamine associated with it, along with my morning routine and coffee when I break my fast. I usually have fruits, and then I go straight into the protein bar, which is the Quest bar. Now I realize that was actually doing me more harm, especially in my midsection, than any good. Considering I'm lactose intolerant, it all makes sense as to why my digestion wasn't the greatest, if that makes sense. So as I've eliminated that these last few days, I had withdrawals, very minor though, because of the fasting and the recent sprinting that I've regained again. These exercises and these routines, one, surprisingly less hungrier, more productive, and eliminating the Quest bar also improved my digestion, if that makes sense. Because when you look at it, eggs, chicken, fish, beef, shrimp, right? Whatever your choice of protein is, like this stays in your system. Like protein is hard to digest. Protein takes a long time to get through your system, keeps you fuller longer, and it also prevents you from overeating. And the last thing you want to do is clog your system, your digestive tracts, with sucralose, processed sugar, even though it says zero sugar. To me, now it's beginning to make sense as to why I've just not been able to crack the 12% and under body fat. This could be a game changer for me, so we'll see. I mean, this morning I went for a nice sprint, posted that video, and I'm already seeing a difference. I'm going to post a progress picture on my Instagram pretty soon. But it's too early to tell. If anything, I've cut off like 200, 400 calories from my daily caloric intake. So while I'm getting 20, 40 grams less protein, calorically, I'm in a pretty nice deficit. And because I'm eating natural protein for the most part, aside the protein shake, I am feeling a lot better. Like there's not a bloat in my stomach. Sometimes like there's a tire. Like when you have that whey protein, not sure what kind of protein you're having, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I'll get this fat tire in my belly area sometimes that'll just sit there and eventually go away. But right now I'm not experiencing that, so this is a really good sign. So, ladies and gentlemen, sugar I can do without because at this stage in my life, I've had enough sugar, and I'm now aiming for and striving for better results. Like I said, like most people would be happy with this physique at any age, but now that I know that I can actually impact my there's another level I can hit through experiment and being really locked in, dialed in. I definitely want to explore how far I can push it reasonably, like in a healthy fashion. Allergies, lots of allergies. By no means I'm saying this is what you need to do, but if there are areas that you can cut back on, if there are areas in your life that you can cut back on and pull back with regards to your diet, are there immediate changes that you can make which has you hitting the ground running? Ask yourself that question. So if you were to write a diary on a whiteboard, on a scratch piece of paper, on what you're eating, and just track, because sometimes writing it down really puts things into perspective, just like I have a whiteboard and I do this all the time. So you have to ask yourself is what can you cut out? Because folks, it's not just training, but all the stuff I talk about, walking, the massive fasting windows, running moderately, sprinting definitely, lifting, right? All of these things. It becomes more magical once you dial in on your nutrition. Like you're not going to outwork, just because you're on a plan like this, you're not going to outwork it. It's going to require a lot of willpower. And even then, once you're able to talk to yourself like I've shown you on my channel, like how you speak to yourself matters, who you surround yourself with matters. Obviously, intermittent fasting, that's a whole different ball game. But you have to lock in on a lot of things and really ask yourself, is this the year you want to make a change? Is this the year you want to win? Right? Because I can tell you the guilty pleasure in your refrigerator and behind the scenes when no one is watching, when it matters the most, is sugar. I would go a little bit more on salt. I would definitely err on the side of salt versus sugar, because there's a lot of food, especially protein, which requires reasonable amount of salt that during training and recovery, because your body, you lose a lot of salt, right? You're sweating, and in your sleep when you're during the night, you're also excreting, like you're perspiring in a way, you're losing water in that sense. So this is where a little bit more salt can kick up that, a little notch of salt doesn't hurt you actually. It favors you in your recovery versus, mindlessly eating sugar and going for those foods that justify, quote unquote, justified in your mind, right? That's what you want to stay away from. This is so inspiring. I got a bunch of athletes here, little boys, little kids, playing flag football, touch football. Hello. This is where I say if you're a parent and you bring your kids to the park and support them like this, I think it's really inspiring. So back to what I was saying is like, if you can figure it out early, a lot of us know that this is really the underlying issue, but we just don't want to deal with it, right? We don't want to pull the trigger and come to terms with the fact that we actually have a very, very unhealthy habit with sugar. And sugar is addictive as cocaine, as they say. And I'm firsthand saying that it's taken me nearly 5 decades to get to this point, very advanced in the mindset, but you don't have to wait till my age to realize that you can actually completely detox off sugar and see the benefits. Like I say that anything that spikes insulin, you have to watch. You have to watch. Like, so right now I'm on and off on fruits that spike insulin. Right now I'm just down to a cup of berries every day, frozen fruits, right? So raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, strawberry, like all in 1 cup. That does it for me. It's got about 26, 27 grams of carbs when you add it up. Look at the packaging. And it's a moderate spike in insulin, so it's not too bad. But like the banana and other, like watermelon, apple, all of that, I've just kind of, right now I'm in a full experimentation mode to see how my body reacts to certain foods. And at this very moment here, eliminating sugar, majority of the fructose, has given me tremendous benefits. I can feel it. So now to sum it up, the walking, the fasting, the gallon of water, the daily steps, right? Good sleep, minimizing your stress. It almost seems like you have no life. I actually have a life, but on my spare time, this for me is a no-brainer to record in my spare time. Because what is my spare time? This is my leisure time. When I'm walking in the afternoon, I am getting the benefits of being in nature and the sunlight. And then right now we haven't hit peak summer, but we're going to hit that 90s pretty soon. So you have to pick the time of the day on when you want to come in and get your steps in and your routines, right? So this is the long and short of sugar. And I can only say it so many different ways. And maybe you are new to intermittent fasting, which many are. Some of us fall off. We start, but then we fall off, right? I am trying to give you that 360 view of fasting. Well, I've been doing this since 2018 when I found Greg Gallagher, Kinobody, he's better known as Kinobody. 2017-18 is when I started incorporating this, and I immediately lost like 20-30 pounds. I went from 190 alcoholic, water weight guy, right? A lot of bloatness, right? To 170, and I hovered around 160, 165. Continued drinking throughout the years, my current weight of 155, 157 is new. This is a new record for me, meaning that I've never been this low in weight. I've never felt better, and my caloric intake, I noticed that I don't need a whole lot of food to stay full longer. So lately I've just hit a stride of doing 22-hour fasts and being able to fit in all my calories in a 2-hour eating window. So think about the 22 hours in the day, most of which I'm sleeping, then I'm maximizing by getting a lot of work done. Maybe you go for a little run. Maybe you go for these walks that liberate you, that liberate your mind, liberate your spirit. And these walks help you, prolong food, instant gratification, and stay off temptations. It's like meditative. I always talk about walking as therapy. Bringing it back to sugar. Do you really need it? Right? I understand sugar is not the enemy. I also understand there's many articles out there about sugar and fruits and all this stuff, right? But you have to figure out what works for you and how food touches your body, goes through your body, impacts your results, because your doctors won't tell you this. Your doctors won't tell you this. You have to hone in on tried, tested, proven individuals who are literally doing this as a lifestyle every single day, not just publishing articles. I'm not just talking about it. I actually have a lot of videos on my channel here that you can see my lifestyle, so it speaks for itself. But as of today, now I know what it's like to almost be 90% sugar free. 90%. And I say 90% is because 10% I'm keeping aside for the fruits, yogurt, right? All of those. And it's a great feeling because now I really feel like I've regained the power of my life fully. Like it's in my hands now, like as much as I can control. This was the one thing that was worrying me is the overdoing on the Quest bars. But not so much now. I feel like once I got rid of that, I lost my appetite to eat other things because one Quest bar leads to, okay, just one more. Then after I'm done with that, the dopamine is over. The coffee, the black coffee, nice fresh coffee kicks in with the Quest bar. It's perfect, perfect combination to keep you nice and comfortable on the couch. Each bite you like take off that crumb and put it in your mouth is just, oh man, it was so difficult for me to put this down. So folks, I am, as much as I've done this life, I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect by any means. So right now, this is my most imperfect secret that I'm letting out there is the Quest bars. I firmly believe was holding me back. And another thing is that it's got whole milk, right? Processed milk in there. And for a guy who's lactose intolerant, knowing all of this, I still continued eating that Quest bar because it's so damn addictive. I don't blame me, but now I applaud it. So I'm celebrating the small win. And that's the last thing is that you got to celebrate the small wins as they come about. You have to celebrate the small wins as they come about. I'm wrapping the corner here, folks. I'm gonna end this video on sugar. I don't think I need to repeat myself. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Uh, if you'd like to reach out to me on Instagram, you can. I'll do my best, obviously, to get back. But right here is the place for you to let me know what your struggles are. I'd love to learn from you, actually. You guys are the real heroes, right? In that sense, is because after all, it's kind of a two-way street. I'm inspiring, but I'm inspired by the feedback as well, whether it's a one-off or it's here. Okay? Till the next video, Mamba out.